So Andrew Wilson is in a debate with a woke feminist who goes by the name of Natty over a controversial topic where the belief is centered around women controlling the world, basically. So this woke feminist is accusing Andrew Wilson of promoting anti-women views and stuff through support. But the problem is she doesn't provide any evidence of him doing so. Okay, so Andrew Wilson does bring direct proof as well as try to challenge this woke feminist right here to go ahead and provide evidence. But instead, Andrew Wilson is basically getting nothing from this woman here because, simply put, she doesn't have any evidence, and that's the usual thing that the left does. So here goes a fiery debate between Andrew Wilson and this woke feminist as he melts her basically to show proof and she panics. So let's go ahead and get into it.
A single point that I made in my opening statement, and that's typical of what he does when he goes in these arguments. And notice also that he claims that everything he says is a joke, and then goes right back around and confirms his belief system that I was criticizing in the first place, which we probably will reveal later on. But I think I will go into, for the next minute or so, into gynocentrism theory itself and why it's important to this discussion and why Andrew actually does believe that the West is gynocentric. And pretty much everything he says about women, even when he says he's joking, is actually rooted in this theory, because it's like a presupposition if you're going to take the position that it's women who are the problem. Okay, so let's talk about what gynocentrism theory really is. Peter Wright, who is pretty much the thinker to Paul Elam, the speaker, if anybody knows about men's rights movement, which Andrew does because he's followed it as well all this time. He is the one who comes out and he's like, tough love, ladies, you need to pull your gig girl panties up and be atoned for your sins. But it's actually Peter that was the one who wrote the theory that he uses in his thinking. And what he claims is that since the medieval period in Europe, we have been gynocentric. He says that during chivalry, which was a code of conduct of behavior for the knight class, that suddenly this was a conspiracy caused by a group of women who were the ladies of the time, who decided to try and make it all about valuing women at the expense of men. Now, Andrew says he doesn't have that definition. I'd like to hear what Andrew's definition is. Thank you.
Andrew?
Yeah, so notice no criticisms about Andrew, more criticisms about a guy named Peter Wright, whose name is not Andrew, and how gynocentric theory is orchestrated and archetyped by Peter Wright and what Peter Wright wants, and Peter Wright, Peter Wright, Peter Wright. What she doesn't say is Andrew. Instead, she asks me a question. You don't get to come to a debate and ask me what I think. Your job is to come in and show the proof and evidence. Show the evidence that whatever you think I believe gynocentrism is, that's what it is. Show any evidence of this. Your job's to build a case for your stupid, crazy worldview, not for me to answer your dumbass questions to try to build your worldview for you. I didn't address any of your points because you didn't make any points. Here's what you need to do, and this is how you debate, and this is why you're part of the never learns your lesson archetype. I'm not here to come in and give you your points for you so that you can then use a bunch of Q&A to try to get to the root of the thing that you think is problematic with me. You can do the Socratic method later in the debate, I suppose, but right now your job is to actually expound on a case that you make, which ties my view in with this guy by showing actual evidence. And right now, I'm going to show you what's happened. You haven't shown any evidence for any of these claims. Show us the evidence, never learns Natty. Show us the evidence, never learns her lesson, Natty. Where's the evidence of any of this? It's nice that you just went on a diatribe about what you think the etymology of the word gynocentrism is. What the f*** it got to do with Andrew Wilson? We still don't know. What's it got to do with him? Andrew needs to tell us what his version of gynocentrism is. No, the f*** I don't. You came in with the claim that Andrew believes X. It's on you, the claimer, to show us that what you're saying is true using evidence. Natty, can you show us any evidence?
Natty, too.
Okay, Andrew. Rachel Wilson, your wife, she includes the theory in her book. And when we have previous encounter, we have numerous witnesses who admit that Rachel has been in guidance with Peter Wright, who was a paying member of her Patreon. And there's actually receipts of her going back and forth in conversation with him. He also uses distinctly the theory that I just mentioned and the information regarding the claim that chivalry became about centering women at the expense of men in her book as part of her conversation and justification for the view that gynocentrism exists in the West. Now, I'm going to claim, Andrew, that your talking points that you use all the time in regards to how you frame and speak to women are rooted in acceptance of this worldview. And you keep going on about how you don't know anything about Peter Wright, but your wife does. And she's admitted that on a space, and people have witnessed and heard it. You can keep running away from this all you want, or you could actually answer the question and tell us whether you believe the West is gynocentric and what your definition of that term means to you and where you got it from. Okay, so I'm going to read a little bit more about how gynocentrism is not compatible with orthodox belief. Okay, it's based on an anthropological view that's not rooted in how orthodoxy sees a human. I'm not sure if Andrew has ever thought about that, because it seems like he just likes to be a contrarian who stands there smoking cigarettes all day until he gets lung cancer or something. I don't know. I don't want that to happen to him, though. I would like him to actually, try and live up to the ideals he says that he is trying to live by, the ascetic life and all that, Andrew.
1 second.
Okay, so she was told to offer evidence of how he said these things, how he had made comments with gynocentrism or whatever it's called. But basically, gyocentrism is basically where the women are the center of attention and stuff. Okay. Instead, she's just telling him to actually answer the question that she asked him on topic. And the fact of the matter is, she's not really debating. She's not presenting any evidence of what he says or when he said or he said too. She just accused him of quoting it from Peter Thiel, and she even brought up his wife when she wrote a book and stuff. But the thing is, that's not evidence at all. You see, this is what happens when people who are on the left will go ahead and just, instead of just debating or answering questions, provide evidence. They prove more. They show more accusations as well as insults to the opposition. Basically, I mean, it's not typical, but in reality, like, there's a lot of women in today's society, even ever since, the 80s and stuff, where a certain number of them, not all of them, made themselves the center of attention, or said the women are the center of attention. And the problem with that is that, there's two sexes that's in this society, male and female, okay? But at the same time, I mean, there's not enough gentlemen as well as enough ladies on this earth in the society. But it's crazy to see how she just go ahead and insult Andrew Wilson and stuff, rather than just going ahead and bringing up undeniable truth. So buckle up, people, because this debate is going to be pretty interesting, to say the least.
All right, okay. I'm done now. You can keep going. Question, Andrew.
Okay, so I would like to note that instead of her demonstrating any proof, once again, of her claims, she wants me to answer her questions so that she can try to prove her claims. That she made this accusation. Here's the accusation that she made. Andrew and Rachel X. If Andrew, Rachel X, I would suppose that you would have some proof. She says that she can prove that Peter Wright was a member of Rachel's Patreon. Okay, show us the proof. She says that she can prove that Peter Wright was in contact with Rachel over the idea of gynocentrism, and that must be true because this was included in her book. Okay, show us the proof. All I'm asking for, very simply, is for Natty, the accuser, and the person who made the claim, to show us the evidence of the claim. Instead, Natty continuously just says that I need to answer questions about some perceived worldview she thinks I have. That's great. I'm glad that she really wants me to answer her questions. But if you have a debate prompt which says this X, Wilson X, right? Rachel this, Andrew this, you should be able to demonstrate these things using proof. What's the proof, Natty? I would really like to know. Now, so again, I can just say this over and over and over. And when we get to the Socratic part of the debate, you can ask me what you think that my definition of gynocentrism is. I think it's basically a meme. But the thing is like, ultimately, can you show us the proof now? Like, I'll actually wait. I'm going to hold right now. I won't say a word, and neither will Sarah. We'll stop the whole stream while you can pull up the proof and show it to us so we can see it. That's why I wanted to do this on video, so that there was no way for anybody to be confused about Natty's proof. She could pull it up via video and show it to us. So go ahead, Natty. All ears.
Yeah, so anyway, Orthodox anthropology says that that Adam was first, okay? And that we are made up of spirit and body and soul. The West, however, tends to view the human person and human being as mind and body and soul. Okay.
She's talking, I think, about Judeo-Christianity right now. As you all can see, even Andrew Wilson is confused about this, because where in the world is she going with this? Where the heck did that come from? I mean, she just started doing some explaining rather than just going ahead and giving proof as he's been begging her basically to give him. I mean, last I checked, Andrew Wilson didn't really make these kind of comments himself. Okay, so the interesting part about this is that why in the world would you do these things and try to debate where you're not really debating anything? All Andrew Wilson is saying is provide evidence of him saying any of these things, or where you claim to say these things, all right?
Okay. And when you hear Andrew's talking points, when he says things like he doesn't want women to have the right to vote, and then tries to claim that it's a joke, but then actually in his debates he does fall on that claim quite routinely, that is one of the indicators that he believes the West is gynocentric, because the only reason that viewpoint is out there is if you believe that the West is gynocentric, or you have what I call a Protestant fundamentalist framing of how you view gender roles. All right. So how Andrew views gender roles, from what I have gathered from Andrew's talking points, is he believes in the complementarian Protestant narrative, which focuses on the body over the mind. And he focuses his whole time criticizing the egalitarian position, which I would say focuses on the mind over the body. And the viewpoint that women shouldn't vote is really rooted in the complementarian position. In fact, if Andrew didn't have any adherence to that position, then he wouldn't be saying it. And if he didn't believe the West was gynocentric, he also wouldn't be saying that too. He would be formulating his arguments in a different manner. But he doesn't do that. He just goes out there and says these really arrogant things to women. And because he thinks he can intimidate them and then do rhetorical devices against them, he avoids actually being held accountable, which is ironic because he's supposed to be representing the patriarchy. You're not the patriarchy, Andrew. You're a young man. Or an adolescent male. Even
Andrew.
Okay, so anyway, I would just like to point out that after all this incessant prattling, here's the thing that we didn't get. Isn't it amazing that I told you that I would outline this entire debate strategy? And Never Learns Natty still would fall prey to it. I asked her for this thing called proof. And the thing that we didn't actually get from Natty was any proof. So Natty starts by making this claim. Andrew says women shouldn't vote. Where? Proof. Proof. Want the proof, Natty? Where is the proof, Natty? Well, Natty's proof is she made it the f up. My actual vote on suffrage is that we should move back to the terms where almost nobody could vote. It has nothing to do specifically with women at all. Nothing. Zero. Nothing to do with it. And in fact, if you enforce my system, women would probably be able to vote because it would be stakeholder democracy. Natty makes up in her brain, right? Can't ever demonstrate it because she made it the up, just like she made all this up with Peter Wright. Now, luckily for you, Natty, while I note that you could not show any proof of your claims of this connection, I did bring the receipts. So now I can show them to you publicly and prove that you're a conspiracy theorist wacko. Now, if you'll humor me, I will happily pull all of these receipts up. If you'll yield your next 2 minutes to me, I'll pull the receipts up and we can go over them, Natty, right now live, and we can finally put to rest your insane allegations. Can we do that or not, Natty? Are you actually here for the truth, or are you just here to show zero proof of any claims, or do you actually want to go through the evidence? Because if you do, I came loaded with receipts today.
I
Up
give
to
you
you.
the option, Natty, if you want to yield over. You don't have to.
I think Andrew needs to answer my question and smoke his a bit stronger. Just put it in your mouth, mate. Come on, you know, it's in your hand. It's going to burn out if you keep doing that. You need a little bit more nicotine, bro.
Getting any proof once again.
Okay, so basically, she can't even provide any arguments or evidence as Andrew Wilson once again asked from her. Okay, and instead she just, like as he said, calls her never learn Natty, that she keeps bringing insulting him on him smoking cigarettes and stuff, and instead of just providing any evidence or any arguments and stuff. Problem is, I don't think she's really good at debating at all. And Andrew Wilson really did just tear her a new one. Okay. So I don't think that she's even capable of debating, let alone providing any evidence and stuff. And if you're a follower of Natty and whatever, you might as well just go ahead and just leave her alone, because she didn't win this debate when it said Andrew Wilson did. Okay. So let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you all in the next video.